Greetings, everyone. Welcome to CRWS, R.I.P.S, Racism in Plain Sight. This is a program designed to show non-white people, especially non-white people who have been classified as Black, what racism is and how it works. And most importantly, to motivate us to produce a system of justice by guaranteeing no one is allowed to be mistreated, and those who need help receive constructive help. The sites we will be exploring are very, very ugly, but in the system of racism and white supremacy, everything is quite grotesque, and everything that we are exposed to should motivate us to want to solve this problem ASAP. So without further ado, I'm going to get us and the first clip. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe this if you feel it is of constructive value.
Fuck you!
抖音
Notice the laughter. Would anyone like to get it started with the reporting on this clip we just witnessed? Well, I'll get it started. I think this is a clear example that everyone on the planet has been taught by racist men and racist women who are also white people. Everyone has been taught the code of, hey, we gotta mistreat Black people, and we all been taught that special word, that nigger word, and that applies to all non-white people, but a lot of people have been led to think it mostly applies to Black people, but all non-white people are niggers. A nigger, just a person who is a victim of racism and white supremacy. But just the fact that this is just to show that the system of white supremacy has produced a global mentality of anti-Blackness. A lot of people have been trained to just, have no problem mistreating Black people. And if you want to mistreat Black people, there's a literal specific code that you can use. You can use the nigger word, you could just, because that word has been just, orchestrated to be so devastating to a lot of non-white people who are confused about racism. I'm sure these Black males are probably used to this because I'm sure this behavior is not unique in this area of the world, but very telling. Who taught these so-called Chinese people how to behave in this manner? Like where they learn this from? I suspect it was white people, and I suspect if they weren't victims of racism, they wouldn't be behaving in this manner. All very tragic and all very pitiful.
Yeah, you'll be shown a lot of favor in the system of racism and white supremacy if you demonstrate that you will mistreat people classified as Black, and I guess not even individuals, but as a group, people who classify themselves as Asian have shown that, in that system, they understand where they are in that system. Well, they think they understand where they are in that system. They think a lot of them think that they're non-white. Sorry, a lot of them think that they are classified as white, or they've taken up the position that, yes, we will, as long as the white supremacists aren't treating us like they're treating people classified as Black, then, we'll endure our position, even though we're not quite on the same level as a racist man or racist woman, which is very, very unfortunate. So they engage in that. They'll go over to places like what we call place known as Africa or the Caribbean. These places known as Africa and the Caribbean, and they'll mistreat Black people over there also. and then they'll be looked upon more favorably, and they are looked upon more favorably by the white supremacists. And yeah, it's very, 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 very tragic. And yeah, I'm trying to count down the days before before people who are classified as non-white, classified as Asian, specifically, come to more of an understanding of the system of racism, white supremacy, and stop mistreating Black people.
Agreed. From the chat, Jackie M says they can't speak English, but they know how to pronounce ninja, SMH. And just so there's total clarity.
Correct.
just so there's total clarity, they're not saying ninja, they're saying nigger. And line 22 says whites are to blame for that behavior, and that is 100% correct. The language of anti-Black racist language is universal. You know, you don't even need to know how to speak English, but you can still, you know, understand what nigger means, because that is a, you know, a just a universal tongue at this point. Everyone's been taught it in some way, shape, or form, because racism, white supremacy is global on this planet.
Yeah, the more you mistreat the niggers, the more you'll be shown leniency in the system of racism, white supremacy. This is how it's looking. This is how it's looking right now. Yeah, terrible.
Continuing. It doesn't get any better from here. Just to say that, it doesn't get any better from here. And this is a Black male I've seen before. I think he's a streamer or a video gamer streamer. But yeah, I've seen him being made like the butt of a joke on many occasions. Well, on another occasion separate from this right here. And I just thought this one was really, really striking. And Jackie M says, yes, Ninja's codes speak for the N-word. I didn't want to type the real thing, the N. Noted.
What?
Cleo.
What's up?
Cleo!
Who is Cleo?
You!
Who the fuck is Cleo?
Cleo.
So I don't know if this is staged or not, but you know, it's just ironic and hypocritical, like most things in the system of racism and white supremacy, how there's all this hoorah about anti, you know, Asian hate, which all of that comes from white people. But that's all I talk about that, where we have just, you know, people classified as Asian being having whole museums with Black people getting being portrayed next to animals, and then we have that producing this kind of mentality, this mentality that we see here on the internet, where these younger victims are associating non-white people with animals, and this whole monkey thing is so weird and really, really sick to me, because white people have their whole fascination with monkeys and whatnot, and they associate Black people with monkeys, but white people have a really bizarre fascination with monkeys, and I've noticed that, and I've observed this in the area of entertainment, video games, and cinema. You know, Planet of the Apes, super popular film, and there's this new video game called Gorilla Tag. And if you read the reviews for that video game, you see all these white people saying, "Oh, how much is a blast for them to just chimp out, you know, and just to pretend to be a monkey and jump around." So really, really interesting. The system of white supremacy really, really destroys minds and puts just the most bizarre and incorrect images in our psyches. And this is what it produces, stuff that I'm presenting here. Hopefully motivation to get us to solve the race problem. I remember I used to get called monkey in middle school just in the form of name calling by someone who was a non-white, non-black person. But I put a stop to it immediately because I wasn't that confused. Any comments?
I suspect it wasn't staged because that look of confusion and hurt in his eyes. He really thought he had a friend in Chun Li.
Well said, evolutionist. Well said.
Yeah, any time we're willing to, carry on and engage in mocking what it means for us to be classified as black in a system of racism, white supremacy, we're really just, we're just participating in our own destruction. And I think probably he's doing that because he doesn't want to face that. He understands. He's probably been mocked because he's black many times before. He doesn't understand how to deal with it. He doesn't understand what the system of racism, white supremacy is. All he knows is that he is at the bottom of the slave ship. And rather than face that, rather than try and do something about it, he thinks if he goes along with the degradation, that maybe the white supremacists, or in this case, other non-white people will find favor with him. Unfortunately, it's been proven that it doesn't happen. There's no way out. Even if you cower in a corner, they're still going to mistreat you. So yeah, staged or not staged, it's tragic.
Agreed. And I mentioned earlier about the museums with the Asian people. Um, Literally, it's a gallery full of like monkeys and apes and gorillas, and right next to these pictures of these animals are black children, and Asian people are just walking around the museum all nonchalantly. I think I covered that one in RIPS 10 or 9 if folks want to go back, or you can just find it on YouTube.
I see that. I've seen those pictures. Absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, but but that is what must take place to have a global system of white supremacy where where black is deliberately kept at the bottom of all areas of people activity, economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. At the bottom, 24/7. You must have this mentality. Wow, just black people are just grotesque creatures, just worse than animals. At least animals know how to survive. We got to take care of black people. You have to have this mentality to have black people mistreated in the manner that we are, I suspect. Because the moment anyone who is not a black person gets mistreated in the manner that a black person does, there's uproar, and white people don't seem to allow that as much, but I may be incorrect. All right, but I'm going to continue with the clips. Well, let's go. While it's still fresh in our memory, we're gonna go here, and then we're gonna go back to that one.
Come on. No, come on. Let's go. Let's go. Hey, man. Come on, Jenna, go. Let's go. Bad girl. Let's go. Keep walking. Keep walking.
Sorry about the screen. I didn't know that's gonna happen. but yeah, as you can see, there's just a lot of confusion a lot of refined confusion. I don't really this is the same chick that we saw urinating on the floor and then getting spanked for it by her partner. This is the same girl, not her, but this one right here with the gray hair. Um, but yeah, this sort of self humiliation, this sort of just degrading behavior is very uh comment in the system of white supremacy from persons who classify themselves as white. I suspect where it comes from, it could be I don't know. I really don't know, but it is very interesting. And I don't think it I don't think it's constructive, of course. I don't think it's I think this is not very hygienic, of course. And yeah, if a child were to see this, it may like just really disrupt their brain computer as to what's normal and what they should be accepting as you know correct and as incorrect. I know if I was a little child and when I saw this, I would like I would I don't know. I would be very confused. Yeah, like hip hop said, what the F? That would be my mindset if I was watching this as a younger person.
Interesting to note as well. Most of this sort of stuff, we've been so influenced by by that system of racism, white supremacy, that we aren't even engaging in proper sexual, like constructive sexual habits. Now, most of what we think of when we think about sex, dating, courting, as they say, or dating, etc., and even acts of like sexual contact and stuff, we're not even engaging in constructive sexual contact with each other. Most of what we've been taught to do, we've learned from the white supremacists. And really interesting is that most of this stuff that we cover in the area of sex, when that white people mostly are engaging in, most of this stuff does not originate from non-white people. And in non-white areas where we associate with non-white areas of the world, of this planet, most of this sort of sexual behavior originates in the minds of the white supremacists. And it's just real strange. Understanding exactly why they do the things they do is really interesting. I haven't figured out why they do the things they do, but I know that from everything I've read and from everything I've seen, that sort of stuff, that sort of way of thinking does not originate around non-white people.
Yeah, and I didn't even mention that this is Area 8. Yeah, this is Area 8 sex, but that's just how just the level of confusion that this is. That it still even confused me because I failed to mention that this is Area 8. This is what is being promoted. Yeah, and I appreciate you saying it originates in the minds of the white supremacists, racist man and racist woman.
I mean, you're white supremacist. How do you even think? How do you even figure out that you like that stuff? How do you even, when you try and really figure these people, how does that even come to you? How do you even figure out you like that? Anyway, it's like trying to get into the mind of a psychopath, right?
Yeah, your questions lead me to speculate about their ancient history, about their existences in the caves and how they were on all fours at one point in time, and they perhaps had to be taught, how to exist on 2 feet by
not washing, eating raw meat.
Yeah, living amongst the
mixed
dogs.
up.
Yeah, literally living amongst the dogs. The whole Romulus and Remus syndrome. Their attachment to these creatures that allow them to survive in the wilderness and produce Rome. So their legend says. Really bizarre.
And when you think about how silly and mythological that whole scenario is of Romulus and Remus being raised by she-wolves, right? All of that's like, why would they even make up such a stupid story, right? It's just, I mean, when you think of we're dealing with the pathology, like people that have real strange pathology. Like, I mean, this is what we have to really understand what we're up against. These are people classified as white are just real. That's just some strange stuff. Real strange myth.
Yeah. Lime 22 from the chat said this is cave behavior. Greetings, still learning. Pleasure to have you on the panel. All righty. We're going next. We're going to some.
That is shameful. Shameful.
This is 31st District Judge Alexis Crott in Hamtramck. She's in hot water tonight, accused of berating a 72-year-old man who has cancer for reportedly not cleaning up overgrown grass and weeds at his home in suburban Detroit. In his court appearance on Monday, the man says he is very weak and he's unable to clean up his home. Judge Crott shames the man, suggesting jail time as a possible punishment.
If I could give you jail time on this, I would. The neighbors should not have to look at that. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Well, Judge Crott eventually gives the man a $100 fine, calling his inability to upkeep his property inexcusable. Crott shames the man in suburban Detroit. A 2-year-old man who has cancer for report.
All right. So I believe this is a black male, at least a non-white male. But yeah, this is really interesting. I think this happened. This clip is pretty new. I can't recall when this happened, but I noticed how this is only 47 seconds. This whole report, they covered this racist act in 47 seconds. If they were reporting on anything else, I suspect they would have been way longer than 47 seconds. But yeah, this I don't know if I should even say it, but just to be as codified as possible, this suspected racist, white supremacist, white woman judge here wanted to throw this black male in jail for his lawn being overgrown. While he's a victim, he has cancer, so he obviously needs help. But she doesn't care that he's sick, he needs help. He's still one of her subjects, and she doesn't like the way that this subject is keeping his dwelling. She says it's shameful, and the neighbors, which could be code for white people, should not have to look at this black male's filth, his squalor. It's really interesting. This is what we're dealing with, and then I ring back to like how white people always like to feign ignorance, pretend to be ignorant. Can you be ignorant to the system of white supremacy when you are treating black males in this manner? Threatening them with jail for, I'm pretty sure a white person would not have been ridiculed this manner, but I may be incorrect.
You definitely can't be ignorant in that system when you have all those broadcasts all over the world about hoarders. Has anyone seen those programs like Hoarders and stuff? And they show umpteen white people with mess everywhere on the lawn, in the house, can't even move, can't see 1 inch of carpet in any room in their house, right? Cockroaches, rats everywhere, and it's not like they ain't got money, but they just keep hoarding stuff. They stink, everything, right? And everyone knows that there's a lot of white people that do all that sort of hoarding stuff, and they're filthy. I bet that those judges are not threatening those white people with jail time. That's ridiculous. And we've all seen those broadcasts with all those filthy white people with dirt, like 6 foot high dirt everywhere in their houses and outside everywhere as well. So definitely practicing racism, white supremacy.
But that reminds me, you mentioning the hoarders. I had another clip. A lot of the clips I had planned got deleted, which is maybe I should download them so that doesn't happen again. I will do that for next one. But I had a clip of there was this Asian woman, and then she was just living in total filth. She had like cockroaches everywhere, and she had cockroaches um crawling all over her, like literally like crawling on her hair, all over her body. It was something out of some sort of like like horror movie, to be completely honest. And I was gonna show that clip because I in my early like I grew up, some having to deal with living in just pest infested homes, living in squalor, when I was a poorer victim of racism and white supremacy. So, but I never had roaches crawling all over me. I never experienced that sort of victimization and mistreatment. But yeah, there I was witnessing this, and I was going to play that clip to show that so-called yellow people, Asian people are victims of racism just like us. We have to understand that they're also victims, even though they've been heavily conditioned to call us niggers and treat us incorrectly. It's just white racism, white supremacy in total effect there. It's really, really powerful and really tragic, really tragic. Comments. We'll be still learning and produce results. Would you like to chime in? We're nice to hear from.
And I wanted to say for the record, judges in Michigan, from my experience, do that quite often, especially in the areas where they're newly, the last 10 years have been populated heavily by Black people, like where she's at, Hamtramck, but all of course, the administrative jobs of enforcing law and politics is in the hands of suspected racists. So they do that demoralizing and further humiliating speechifying damn near every day to probably about 10 to 20 Black people over minor infractions like that. That's when they get most of a chance to tell you what they think of you, or through what's called a mediation system, where the mediator was a lawyer and he's a racist or she's a racist. And they get to tell you in a room full of people what they think of your poor choice of not paying your traffic tickets. They question how you were raised and all kind of things.
Yeah, it reminds me of the I'm just doing my job / I'm just following orders. What like white people like to do. I saw a video of white people towing this black male and black female's vehicle, and he was like, "I'm sorry, I'm just doing my job. It's nothing personal, just doing my job," And then they're just begging him to not tow the car, and they're asking how much it's gonna be, and she's like, "I don't know." And then it's just like, wow, white people, because I sense he didn't give a damn, but he gets to hide behind I'm just doing my job rhetoric, that's that Yurugu, they have all these sayings that they can hide behind. And yeah, on the job is where they get to practice race and white supremacy the most, and they probably get the most pleasure and enjoyment from it on the job. But still learning. I saw you unmuted earlier. Would you like to chime in before we continue on with the clips?
Yeah. Hey, buddies. I got here a little late to the get together today, and I didn't catch everything from the beginning. But it goes into the context of what does it mean to be Black? What does it mean to be white? The subtext of that question, it's imbued in everything that we do. Of course, a lot of people, like I heard Smoking Damage just mentioned earlier, they try to feign the ignorance. But I don't know what this means. I have no idea. I think people, they're trained from the time of being toddlers to know exactly what it means to subscribe to these roles or these characters that people choose to play, or they're assigned at birth, and then they're trained and brought up in these ways to carry out these tasks, whether it's supporting the ideology or whether it's playing the role of the entertainer or the in some cases the crash test dummy, as we may have mentioned before. So it all goes back into what does all that mean to play and to subscribe to these roles that people are assigned as we play out this thing called life to inside the context of racism, white supremacy. Again, what does it mean to be what? And they show us all the time what it means. Soon as even what is success? I think I mentioned this last time we talked. But what is success in the system of racism, white supremacy? What can you only be successful at? You can only be successful at supporting it to date. To date, you're only allowed to be successful at supporting the system. I don't think anyone has been identified as being successful for not supporting the system or dismantling the system to the point even taking the initial bricks out of the foundation of the system. I don't think anyone has been deemed successful in that sense. And if they have been successful, it doesn't get promoted because that will set up a model for other people to emulate. And then you have the code to breaking the system, breaking it down and potentially dismantling it. But that's not communicated. That's my 2 cents. I know I talk too much sometimes, my bad. Thanks a lot for listening.
No, thank you. I felt you were very precise and concise. Yeah. Alrighty, let's continue on with. Oh, all right, yeah. All right, let's just continue on with the in your face. And yeah, characters. I appreciate what you said about the characters. We will be seeing a lot of characters in this broadcast. Tragically.
You're so confident about yourself. I'm so pretty. I'm the prettiest girl on TikTok. No, you're black, ugly, nigger, piece of shit, stranger, asshole, dumb asshole, shit face, die in cancer, and I can't wait till the day you die because you have the coronavirus. Okay? And I'm done. I'm not going to talk to you anymore. I'm blocking you right now because I don't talk to little shits and I don't talk to whores. Okay?
Yeah, before we comment on this, line 22 says, and it has to make this correction here in regards to the person I called a black male. It was actually a line 22 says the man being accused in court is Indian, non-white. His name is Burham Chowdhury. So accuracy is key. But yeah, in regards to this clip right here, I don't know what racial classification this person is. She could be a white Hispanic, or she could be a regular white person, or she could be a non-white person. I don't know.
Yeah, I suspect she's classified as white, I think.
Yeah, but she has definitely learned how to function as a white person and how to practice racism, white supremacy at a very early age. Yeah, this TikTok is a very, very social media in general is a very, very powerful piece of technology. The Yurugu, white people, racist man, racist woman, they love technology because it has always been a tool to just massively sabotage the minds of non-white people. It started with religion. It started with just them. The white code was probably one of their first technologies. Did them organizing themselves around being white and having a code for what it means to be white, and then they used the technology of religion to just massively get non-white people to start worshiping these white concepts such as Jesus Christ, Christianity, and any other isms or entities that you want to throw in there. And then they come out with digital technologies, social medias like this, where you can just have like a bunch of non-white people just saying and doing anything, while at the same time being exposed to racist propaganda 24/7 that teaches them, hey, mistreat a black person. Hey, yeah, you can say nigger. Hey, yeah, make sure you spit on a black person. Make sure the black person always will laugh the butt of a joke. They see this information on the Disney Channel, Nickelodeon, wherever you click, wherever there's a screen, this message is being sent out there. And what does it equal? It equals to this clip we just saw here. This little girl, little white racist child, racist man, racist woman, and a racist child maintaining the system. It equates to this little child sending this message, this TikTok, this message to a non-white person, probably another black child. Yeah, Just really, really tragic, tacky, trashy, and terroristic.
Greetings again, still learning. And yeah, with this clip, I have to say, you know, sometimes when we say racist man, racist woman, racist child, a lot of non-white people sometimes think that's a throwaway comment, or that's comedy, or you know, what do you mean racist child? You know, how does racist child contribute to the system of racism, white supremacy? You look at that child, do you think she's unaware of what it means to be white in a system of racism, white supremacy? She doesn't appear confused to me. She's not confused at all about what it means to be a white child in a system of racism, white supremacy. She definitely knows she don't want to be treated like, you know, like the niggers. So yeah, when I see that, and think about how much influence she has in the system of racism, white supremacy. She's gonna pass that pathology on. She's gonna pass that psychopathy on of being a racist to untold other white people all over the planet, right? To and inspire them to carry on that system of racism, white supremacy. So yeah, like 05 was saying, racist man, racist woman, racist child, just playing their part in that system, all as effective as they need to be. There are no small players in the system of racism, white supremacy. They're all as effective as they need to be in that system. Don't underestimate them. It's not just racist. It's not just racist man. When people talk about racism, white supremacy, that the white man and patriarchy. No. You can't. This system cannot exist for as long as this existed without the full participation of racist woman and racist child.
Yeah, precisely. And I just you said what you said just makes me think of a bunch of racist children just giggling, like seeing this on the internet and giggling, and then yeah, them being motivated to practice racism. This is which is why there needs to be lots of content motivating us to practice justice, produce justice, because this is long and dated, and just should have been ended a long time ago. Let's get to it. Mr. Evolutionist, would you like to chime in? I see you got your hand up there.
One thing I think we should remember is they have to have an opportunity to practice in the most glorious to them way. They have to have a relation basis to a Black person directly. In the first clip with the Black boy being told he was a monkey, and in this clip, if you just think a little bit, both of these perpetrators, criminals, even though they're children, they had to draw in the other Black person. When this little suspected racist said, "Oh, you think you're all pretty?" And then she said, "No." So that indicates to me she was playing along when this Black female, potentially child, was talking about how pretty she was, and there was no dispute until there was. The Black boy thought that he was probably on some type of friend level with the girl who called him a monkey. As a counter racist, as a non-white person, period, your job is to frustrate the racist, make it harder for them to practice. And one of the things I do is I don't let them engage me regularly without stating their fucking business. And it got to be some business that I want something to do with directly, or we're not going to get past a couple sentences. Because the more you let them talk, the more comfortable they are to practice subjugation. abuse based on color. I suspect that these relationships that allow them to go into these tirades and to shock us with these insults come from the victims deliberately lowering their guard and their suspicion of the intent of the person classified as white. If we suspect them of having the intent of trying to use our relating to them as a way to practice getting better at deception and the threats, if we just are suspicious of them, we usually don't get too far. They don't get to go too far, and they don't get the enjoyment out of it they suspect. I had a white racist deliberately wait until I sat down on a bus cornered to sit in front of me with a non-white child, then put her food in the seat next to me so I couldn't move, and then commenced to talk to me for the next 10 minutes about her black boyfriend. I never asked a question about, never met the chap, didn't want to meet him. It's only because I told that racist to stop calling me honey and dear and baby. So her next step was to go from tacky to terroristic. She was forcefully trying to insult me, but I didn't give her more than what she was already doing for parading this non-white child in front of me. I did not give her confirmation or add to her context having this imaginary black boyfriend. And eventually the bus driver told her to hurry up and get off the bus. And then she started cursing at his black ass. So it was perfect. She was already frustrated because I was not responding to her black boyfriend report. I wasn't giving the ideal that I was okay with that and we gonna chop it up about it, which would have been further insult. So I think that's one of the things these videos can remind us is, who told you you had a white friend? When? I asked that question on a crowded bus in the middle of Hollywood, crowded tourist bus, to a black female out loud. When has white ever been friends with black? And the whole bus gasped, but nobody answered the question.
Incredible. Codification is key. Produce results. Please go ahead.
I think that's an excellent point the gentleman just made. When have we ever been friends? And we are not friends. As a female with non-white offspring, I feel like it is my job to make sure that my offspring understands that these individuals are not your friends. You don't have friends. These people, when they do these mean things to you, that's because they were trained to do that. So since these people have no ability to be friendly, expect some type of nefarious behavior to come from them because that's what they do. I think we need to get into the process of demonstrating codified behavior to our offspring. I personally feel like removing our offspring from these institutions called schools would also be more prudent if that is possible for one to do, so that we can teach our offspring when these individuals come up to you, you need to be on your guard. You don't approach them without a constructive end result that you want in mind. And if they approach you, they don't have something constructive that they want you to do 9 times out of 10. So if they're approaching you, one, do your best to maintain your distance. If it starts to delve into that trashy terroristic mode, you need to already know where your exit is. Don't box yourself in a corner with these individuals. And it seems like a lot of our children are being pushed out into the world disarmed, and that's where we need to start. Start arming your children with the information they need so that they are not out here getting their feelings hurt by these individuals. They expect it. So that man, when he for that young man when he heard that female being disrespectful to him. He should have ended the interaction. Same thing with the young female child. In the interaction, I had an issue like that at work. A female, a white female, wanted to present a problem to me that had already been resolved. And when I asked her, "What do you need me to do?" she was silent, because what she wanted to do was cause me to have a reaction to her. That is another thing. They go up to you because they want you to have a reaction. They want you to be the one to act a fool. And when you either ignore them, which is what I tend to do in the stores, because they want to speak with me for some reason, and I don't acknowledge them, and they keep moving because they know that I'm not going to engage with them. Or with this female, when you can't ignore them, what do you want? Silence. And then they have to figure out what they need. Okay. If it's not a constructive thing to do, you need to dismiss them. I don't see how I can help you with that. This is why we need to study codified responses and practice them before you go. You have no reason to talk to these people, most of them. They cannot give you a constructive result. So when you see them, avoid them like they typically do to you. I've talked on too much, but that's what I had to say about that.
Black self-respect, teaching your offspring codification, and very important, all persons classified as white are suspected racist, and one should act accordingly. If all non-white people had this in their brain computer, a lot more of us would not have met our demise, partying with white people, disappearing with amongst them, on their boats, on their golf cart ranges and whatnot. If we understood that that white people cannot be our friends, a lot more of us would still exist on this planet and would be able to contribute to solving the race problem. But because we are so confused and we have been just trained trained incredibly well to trust and have such a high affection and attachment to white people who classify us as their enemy. Racism is a war against Black people. It's a war against non-white people. It's a global war that white people operate against us 24/7. But yet we want to dance with them. We want to marry them. We want to have babies with them. And super incorrect, super insane. They're not our friends. They're not our family. If they want to be these things, they would have helped us produce a system of justice. They would have stopped this mistreatment against us on the basis of color, but that has not happened. So we must practice codification, or this problem will not be solved. From the chat, we have Lime 22 says, NFJ says white children understand the system by the time that they are 15 to 16 years old. This clip is proof of that. And we have Halima Candy. Thank you for using the terms how words work. Be careful and mindful of how words. Good point about the racist child. Thank you. I had to reflect on this genesis starting points of the racist of the white supremacist racist community. Children are killing and consuming each other. Be on guard. What do you want me to do? How do you want me to do it? And what do you expect the constructive result? Black sacrifices. So that's a lot. Who's doing the most consuming of all things? That's white people. They're the most to blame for all incorrect behavior on this planet. All right, continue on with the clip, and tragically, doesn't get better. That doesn't get better. Doesn't get any better. And before we begin, still learning. Please chime in.
Quick question to the whole panel here. Who do you all recognize outside of just racist men and racist women? What institutions are is the codified response in competition with. So if the intent is to arm our children with a codified response and a way to view the world and to respond to the environments around them, what are they competing against in an effort to become effective and efficient at practicing a codified response? Just a question to the panel.
I don't know. You're gonna have to rephrase the question for me.
I think if we stop on the word institution, the way I believe that, if I'm wrong, I may be, but if you correctly, in a compensatory fashion, define institution, we're simply talking about a group of people who have a codified behavior to produce a particular result with other people. When you have a mailing system, it's people in there processing the mail. That's a mailing institution. People with coordinated behavior to produce a desired end. So we are the institution against the institution of racism. We are, as long as they practice racism, they make and create institutions of people coordinating to attempt to stop them. But just to react is to stop them. But to be proactive means now I'm going to attempt to practice balance with me and this person, whoever it is. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to accept lies. I'm not going to desire to mistreat them. I'm not going to desire to trick them or defraud them or take from them something they should have. I'm not going to withhold correct and constructive information when I have the ability to give it. So that's the proactive. Can't just be reactive. You have to have a purpose before just to be against your contrarian, you know? Hello. So that's, if we think of what institutions, we have to think of an institution as people. And we are an institution at this very moment.
Yeah, I'm gonna adapt your answer, evolutionist. All right, continue.
We should remember that we can be against racism, but that doesn't mean we've chosen to be for justice. You could be against harsh treatment for yourself, but that doesn't mean you don't want to mistreat people.
Got it, evolutionist. I think, well, to make it simpler for 0526, like you were saying, break it down for him. I will continue to use the words institutions are in competition for the attention and the behavior modification for our children. So if we're asking them to run one program, one code in their head, when they go out into the world, they're being bombarded with other codes coming from other places. And then they have to learn how to navigate within both of those, using both of those codes, because one will cancel out the other. So the question becomes, where are the other codes, the competing codes coming from? I think it's helpful to identify where those codes are coming from. So then we can, as adults, we can arm our children with recognizing that when you enter this arena, when you enter into this environment, this code may be coming at you from this location or from this place. So be ready and expect or anticipate what's going to happen, then be able to have your response ready. So I think it's helpful to identify where the competing codes are coming from, the competing programming, where it's coming from. I hope that was clearer.
Oh, okay.
And that's the gist of my question is we and the kids are in competition with for the behavior, for the modification of the behavior to produce justice.
Everything. We all know that there's 9 areas of people activity. We got economics, we have education, entertainment, labor law, politics, religion, sex, and war. And there's literal physical places that white people have built that promote these areas and their businesses. Like they all ends up as various content on people's screens, and or it ends up in the curriculum that non-white people are forced to learn in school. So just having the one's offspring codified and less confused about racism, and them knowing that everything is, all roads lead to racism, all everything is racism, that could be very constructive, and allowing the offspring to exist, being able to counter racism and not be as stressed as a victim who's more confused, who's just gonna not be able to jump over the hurdles, but just gonna trip over them constantly because they don't have any maneuvers to counter. But having the information, having codified thought, speech, and action goes a long way. And because it's designed to counter all 9 areas, I suspect. That's what I got from it.
Yeah, I'd say so. Just to add, I'd say, yeah, I think what we're up against, if we're attempting a counter-racist code, I think to try and answer your question, still learning, I think we're up against everything. White people are on code in every area of people activity, every single one, from basic economics, time and energy, to everything in education, entertainment, labor law, politics, religion, sex, and war. They're in everything. And if we're going to teach our offspring, we need to, well, as soon as they can understand it properly, this is probably good to give them that type of information, that doesn't matter what you engage in, white supremacists are probably going to poison it in some sort of way because they're going to be on code in those in all of those areas.
I'm with you all 100%. And I think the majority of people on this panel knew the answer to that question. I posed the question just in case anyone in the chat was new to the discussion and may not have a good grasp on the breadth and the brevity of the far reaches of RWS and just how entrenched it is in our everyday get-togethers. Like I posed last time, you can ask a fish, hey, how's the water today? And the fish could reply back, what the hell is water? Because they have no concept of them being surrounded by the water. Most people have no concept of them being surrounded by RWS every single day, every aspect of their lives. Like we said, the 9 areas, that most people have no concept. So when we send our children out into the world and start giving them the codified response, they're going to run into people who are going to ask them, why are you acting so weird? What's wrong with you? Why aren't you with the program? You're not normal. Something's wrong with you. Now you start getting notes back to your house. Your child's not performing. You need to test them. Maybe something's wrong with them because they're not behaving in the expected behavior mode of what it means to be Black or non-white. You're supposed to behave in this manner. And if you don't, you become a problem and an oddball. And if you become a problem in the oddball, especially if you're being constructive, it makes puts the attention on that person, and it makes the people who the attempts for RWS, when they start to not have the impact that they expect, they get scared. You know what they do when they get scared? They get violent. They get either physically violent or administratively violent, one of the 2 ways. So I posed that question for anyone that was new to the discussion that may not didn't get the gist of the breadth and the far reaches of RWS. But thank you all very much for the feedback. It's highly constructive and I wholeheartedly appreciate it.
Thank you. All righty. All right, we're gonna play this clip, and then we're gonna put the focus. The focus is always gonna be on white people, but we're gonna go back to watching white people. All righty.
I got the what? Don't pay me no mind, sister. I got the what?
I'm not talking to you.
Okay. You was done.
Okay, and you was talking about me too.
Okay.
You felt it.
I deaded you, baby. That's what I did.
You felt like you did.
No, I didn't feel like I did.
But you didn't.
No, I didn't feel like I did. You see her?
Yes, not today.
She be faking. Like, you just be faking.
Bye.
By what? No, because I'm not going to play with no cunt like this. Like, who is you? You're late. Like, look at you. I'm what?
bored.
No, if I was bored, I was gonna smack you. No, bitch, don't ever play with me.
Ron,
The fuck?
I know you did not just hit her while her fucking baby in her head.
I didn't hit the baby.
So earlier, I think we're still learning to mention the characters, like the characters within the system of race and white supremacy. And race and white supremacy and the Yurugu, it's just a masterful job at like compartmentalizing and separating and just dividing everything. And it has even done that to the minds of non-white people, I suspect, to the point where we have Black males who are who in their minds they're playing the roles of Black females, or they would probably think Black women, ghetto Black women, I suspect. And I'm saying this because if you listen to the Black male who is speaking in this voice, he sounds very very effeminized and sounds very similar to a Black female who is from so-called hoods, at least from what I grew up around. And it's really real tragic. And of course, because he's pretending to be a black woman, correctly should be called a Black female. A Black woman do not exist. Anyways, he's pretending to be a Black female, and then he assaults a Black female. Super incorrect. But the insanity is so acute. It's just so deep in there that it's probably normal. He probably thinks that he's just a Black female hitting another Black female in the hood. That's what Black females do. All very tragic, all very sick. Doesn't produce any constructive results. And then I don't know. He seemed to run away afterwards. But yeah, I've seen how a person like this Black male in this video can behave when they are in a fight, and it's very, 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 very vicious. So the Black female, yeah, she definitely needs to no longer hang around this person at all. First time, last time should definitely apply in this situation as well. But yeah, very disturbing. Very disturbing.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say about that. To be honest with you, he doesn't even sound like a Black female to me. He just sounds like a strange caricature of what he thinks a Black female is.
Exactly. Yeah.
And he's been so severely disturbed and confused within this system of racism, white supremacy that so I suspect he's confused about what the system of racism, white supremacy is, and he's also confused about himself, and he's wearing his psychological, his psychological displacency, right, like basically, to use that phrase, on his sleeve, like right there. It's like for the whole world to see. And unfortunately, in this white supremacy system, they've taught him that type of behavior is praiseworthy. Because the whole planet is in some sort of weird topsy-turvy mode where this type of behavior is rewarded. If he was on some sort of ridiculous reality show, like the white supremacists like to have us watch now, he'd probably be praised. They'd probably say, "Oh wow, he's got such attitude. He's this, he's that," and then they'll promote that and say, like, this for offspring. And they're like, this is a great way to act. This is a great way to behave, and and we'll give you accolades, we'll give you money if you act like that, if you behave in that type of way. And real tragic. We need to be talking, especially to offspring and stuff. We need to be really, really teaching them that this is not the way to behave, because as fast as we're trying to do that, the white supremacists are going to glorify that type of behavior to the hilt. Yeah. Real tragic.
Yeah. We need to talk to our offspring about racist white supremacy while they're in the womb. No, in preconception, in the form of planning. You can't just have a black baby. You have to plan to bring another black prisoner of war to planet Earth. It's very serious business. Halima Candy says, I have seen this assault before. He is a man that has no concern for children. No, Halima, this is not a man. This is a highly confused black male victim of racism who needs help. In the system of white supremacy, non-white people cannot function as men. Men
completely correct. I think we just have to, every time we see that type of behavior, we have to ask ourselves, where did that black male learn to act like that? Where did he learn? And if people say, well, he probably learned it from another non-white person, well, where did that non-white person learn to act like that? And everywhere you go, you're going to find all roads lead back to racist man and racist woman.
Precisely. Halima Candy also says his anger, jealousy, and hatred against women and motherhood is evident. Again, I didn't see him mistreat any woman. I saw him mistreat a black female. Women are white and men are white. I saw him mistreat a black female victim of racism in front of a black child victim of racism. All who needs help, but doesn't seem to be receiving the help because racism is still here. All right, before we dive into what I think could be this is probably incorrect to say, but I think could be the mascot for black males, for black people across the planet. Before we get to that clip, take the lens back to racist man and racist woman. What should be in one's brain computer is that the system is kept in place by largely by direct or indirect violence from white people and or deceit, massive deceit. And it's many white people from all walks of life are participating in this in very various forms. So let's see. Which one? Oh yeah, and also white people are dangerous. We should all be very suspicious of them. And the clip we're playing right now is very evident of that. No matter where you are, even if you're just serving food, you're dealing with a white person, be cautious. You're dealing with a very dangerous individual, potentially.
Let's just making McNuggets in my hand. I don't want to hear it.
It's 10:30 a.m. We don't serve chicken McNuggets at this time.
Yes, you do.
No, we don't.
Why not?
Because we do.
You know what? Did you just hiss at me? I didn't want to just fucking hiss at you.
You just give me this out of the car. What's going on over there?
Don't you fucking run away from me. You have me.
Man. God, holy shit.
Enough. Don't make me assume my ultimate form. I will fuck you up. Wait, I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna wreck you. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck. I'm gonna try to swallow you like a dumbass.
Ma'am. Whoa. Ma'am. What? Close that shit. Man. God damn. Oh my God. What the fuck is this bitch on? Holy shit.
What's going on? Did she like get burned by her apple pie or something?
Dude, I have no idea. Alright, we need to call the police. This is out of control. Whoa! Holy shit!
What does it mean to...
Whoa. Wow. If that was a black female, that was a black male who did that, underneath the jail. They're gonna find you wherever you go, wherever you're hiding, and
Probably been a
you are gonna.
manhunt.
Oh,
Probably
what?
got killed.
Yes, complete statewide, man. You are gonna be locked underneath that jail for a very long time. They're gonna introduce new laws to find you, and you're gonna be locked up for a very, very, very long time. But that white woman will probably, I don't know, she'll probably get a fine, or she probably won't even be found. I don't know. If she does, it'll be a slap on the wrist or whatever like that. You know, just yeah. What does it mean to be white? Like you say, in a system of racism, white supremacy, just complete, just autonomy. She just felt just justified. She just felt like, oh yeah, I can do this. Well, you know, I get angry. It's just black male behind there. I can just say what I want to this guy. He's a slave. This guy's a slave. I'm gonna talk to him like I want to. And if I want to throw a rock through the window, I'll just do that. You know? Wow.
Yeah, like
the psychosis of what it means to be white.
Aren't black people always presented as like aggressive, you know, and scary? But like, I don't like. Well, I don't know. This was very aggressive, and this was very terrifying. It's something out of a horror movie. Bitches growling, you know. Pardon my off-code language, but the white bitch was growling. You know, like what?
She was proper acting like a monster. She has just racial Tourette syndrome. Just wow, just madness, absolute crazy.
So
you know. Can you imagine how many other times she's done this to other non-white people as well, off camera, different times? This is not the first time she's done that. This is not the first time she's done that. She's done that to many, many different white, non-white people, I suspect.
Yeah. And I point out the aggression because you know, this is one of a white woman, yes, but there's also white people in suits who aggression manifests in a manner that affects thousands and millions of black people, you know, just by signing policies, signing pieces of papers, and next thing you know, black people's pipes have been poisoned, you know, and now generations of younger black people are suffering from lead poisoning and various mental illness because of it, and physical illness because of it. And so it's very, very, although I'm laughing, it's just the aggression manifests and other white people who are way more powerful than she is. She's very powerful, of course, but there are more powerful white people wearing suits in various parts of the world whose aggression manifests very differently. And
completely. And just for purposes of clarity, this white woman is not a Karen. Non-white people, please stop using that word. This is about clarity. There's no such thing as a Karen. Let's start using accurate language to describe what that white female is doing when she's calling that black man a nigger and etc. etc. She's not a Karen. This is a white female practicing racism, white supremacy. Let's start calling things what they are, because white supremacists, I suspect, enjoy that, and they look forward to us continuing to use this inadequate, ridiculous, compensatory, obfuscatory, ridiculous term to describe white people practicing racism, white supremacy. That's what she's doing. Let's just forget that word Karen. It doesn't describe in any kind of way what we just saw. She's a racist. It's plain and simple. She's a racist practicing racism.
100%. 100%. And yes. Oh yeah, and in regards to the chat, Halima Kenny says, did she say she could shapeshift, assume my real self? I don't know, but I posted the video. I posted the video in the chat. You can study it and report it back to us.
She looked like she could shapeshift. She looked like she was gonna transform into a werewolf or something. I don't know what she's gonna.
Something out of a horror movie, you know, closing her, like slamming her finger in the window, and she just seemed, you know, just unmoved. It doesn't hurt me, you know. I don't have neuromelanin. But anywho. So now we're gonna Next clip is also something else. Next clip is also something else. Oh, before let me get Halima has been really chatting up with us today. Halima Kennedy System, WSR is institutionalized in schools, and our children and their parents will stand with the WSR against Black teachers any time of the day. Yeah, I've seen that happen. Seen that happen. Seen really. Yep, correct. All right, continuing.
Holding my baby.
Whether it's on a plane or not.
I'm holding my baby.
Please, I'm asking you, just show me that you have a baby.
Go ahead, take the blanket off if you're that sure. He's filming you do this, by the way.
Yes, you gave him permission. He will take
I
the
never
blanket
gave him
off.
permission.
You said go ahead and take the blanket off. So
It's a cat! It is a cat! I told you! I told you!
It's a lynx.
What?
It's an emergency service animal, and it's a lynx, not a cat. There's a big difference.
It's a lynx. It's a
What
lynx.
is
Not
that?
it's
Is that
lynx.
is that real?
Cat.
Is that a
I
real
don't
cat?
know
Ma'am,
a cat
you need
in
to
your
sit back
face.
down.
Whoa.
You need to sit back down.
Is that a real cat?
get away. Can we just is it a real cat?
Is it alive?
What is it?
It's an emergency service emotional support animal.
Oh.
I believe that's
Well, that's
part of the
allowed.
regulation.
Yeah, that's allowed.
Okay.
That's all.
Oh, wow.
Oh. The eyes are.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Why women will lie? It's an emergency support service animal. What word salad? Ridiculous nonsense. She just stood her ground when people caught her out, and she just thought, like, if I just brave this out, brazen it out as a white woman, then they'll probably allow me.
Oh my
They'll probably
God.
allow me to. Wow.
Yeah, it's
I can't even say anything about that.
yeah, it's wow. Yeah. I've never seen this one throughout. I thought she was initially I thought she was gonna be holding like a fake baby doll, not some sort of I don't know, dead cat, taxidermied cat with googly eyes. This is very bizarre. Just but at the end she got to stay on the plane, it seems, and keep her dead cat creature, lynx or whatever. Oh wow.
Oh, what? They let her stay on the plane?
That's what it seems like, because at the end they're saying like, oh well, that's okay, because she's saying it's like a service animal, like an emotional service animal. It seemed like they were believing her. It seemed like they were believing her. Oh yeah, this is insanity. Like this is like just we live in an insane system. All of us are insane, myself included. But it just white people are much more crazier because they taught us how to be insane. I suspect. And
can you imagine you're on that plane 05?
Oh, yeah, I know.
They'll say what? They'll say, okay, emergency. You take yourself and your emergency service animal. Get your black self off of that aircraft, please.
The air marshals would have took me out. The air marshals would have took me out. The air marshals would have been like, we got a crazy nigger, delusional.
You and your dead cat.
That's right. Code 3. Code 3.
Oh this is so lame. Well, what a decrepit system. We should all be motivated to just it could be so simple as just non-white people speaking correctly about the situation we are in. We are prisoners of war, classified as non-white, classified as black. We need help. We need help in the form of justice. And yeah, we're victims, and victims need help. And we could just, if all of us were just saying that, we don't need to, go, Dylan Roof white people. We don't need to do this. We could just solve this problem with just enough of us using our words against the system. And then white people will be like, you know what, I'm getting tired of every time I go outside as a nigger talking about justice. Let's help them produce justice, or let's kill all the niggers. I'm fine with either choice. But that's what we should be shooting for here, because this is nonsense. I don't want it to be 20. I don't want it to be 21,
You're completely
50.
right.
Yeah, I don't want it to be 2150. So there's a black male taking a hyperjet to Mars. He gets to Mars to apply for a job. I was like, oh no, we don't hire niggas here on Mars. We don't. you know, try Pluto,
exactly.
try Pluto. You know, that's where they want to take this. That's where they want to take
completely. That is completely right. You know, that's completely right. It won't even be planet wide. It will be interplanetary system of race and white supremacy if we're not careful. If we really don't get on code as a you know, a effective number of us. And I think. You know, I lost my train. I just lost my train of thought here. I'll just leave it there. But I was gonna. Oh yeah, I remember I was gonna say now. I was gonna even in terms of getting on code. Even one of the ways, just even something as small as not arguing with each other and not name calling each other. Not black people not name calling other black people. Not doing harm to another black person. Not gossiping about another black person. Can you imagine the white supremacists will be quaking in their boots? They'd be quaking in their boots if we just changed that one thing. Just those few little things, not arguing. Can you imagine that? They'd be thinking, those white people would be thinking, what are these niggers up to? Why aren't they fighting with each other? Why aren't they arguing with each other?
Yes, precisely.
You know, why aren't they arguing with each other? Why aren't they name calling each other? Why aren't they slapping each other and doing stupid stuff? Why aren't they just twerking every 2 seconds? You know, just those few little things will send shivers down the backs of racist man and racist woman because they know they're niggers. They know how they trained us. They know how they trained us to act. We're supposed to hate each other. We're supposed to mistreat each other. And you know, the quicker we get on code, the quicker we will solve this problem. You know, like Dr. Welsing said, it's kept in place by white intention on one side and on the other side, black self-hatred. We need to keep that in mind. White intention on one side and black self-hatred on the other.
And how simple could it be to communicate that exact same message through what's deemed portals of black media? Whatever, you know, I know there's no such thing as black media. And I say that because the messages, like you said, about not fighting with each other, not arguing with each other, working together, coming together, respecting each other, respecting ourselves can easily be transmitted just as well through music, movies, poems, everything else just as easily, but it isn't. So then it begs the question, who does black media really serve? Like I mentioned before, you can only be successful in this system if you support this system. So it would be very easy to promote messages of healing and messages of doing the right codified messages, but through what vehicle, except through opportunities like this? And who's going to pick up, you know, 0526's channel and elevate it to the next level of communication? Because it's going to interrupt the profit stream of RWS. If we get people to act and behaving in a codified manner, it interrupts the profit stream because ignorance is profitable. And as long as they keep non-white people away from the knowledge of understanding what codified responses are and what justice is, that more money these systems can make, and the more they don't have to pay back what they owe the non-white person.
Completely agree. There's lots of people who quote Neely Fuller, but they do not promote his works. They do not promote the code book. And I've noticed that. I completely agree, still learning. There's a lot of people out there that quote, that talk, that say stuff, mention Neely Fuller, but they're still engaging in name calling, still engaging in, you know, encouraging other black people to fight with other black people. Non-constructive nonsense. But yeah, we won't gossip. But yeah, we know.
Could be so simple. Countering the system could be so simple as just, you know what? I'm not gonna participate in the name calling of black people. I'm not gonna watch any movies where black people are being silly. I'm just gonna, you know, kind of avoid all that. Yeah, just no zero-risk thinking. If I see black people trying to solve the race problem, I'm not gonna think that racism can be solved, because it can be solved. You know, anything put together by people can be taken apart, logically speaking, according to just according to logic, not just according to logic. But continuing, I'm gonna play a quick promotion of the code, producejustice.com. I'll play a quick commercial. Not really a commercial, but I don't know what else. I don't know what else to call it. One moment.
There are four types, four forms of it that you can get to by going to producejustice.com. You'll see it in the textbook, the forms that it takes. And that is black people's biggest drawback when it comes from not only not having a code, but not really being focused on countering and eliminating racism as the reason for being. Whereas the white supremacists, their whole reason for being, for existing, is white supremacy. They have no other reason for even existing. This is why they're in such opposition to anybody changing it. Because if you take white supremacy away from a white person who believes in white supremacy, you've taken everything. You haven't just taken something. And it's the same way with black people. You take away the ability for a black person to show off to another black person, that black person is now suicidal.
Would suggest everyone to go to producejustice.com so you can learn just so you can learn what codification is and what race and white supremacy is and how it works. This broadcast is attempting to help you with that, but producejustice.com is a place I think every non-white person needs to visit on the planet and order their copy of that book. I think is really significant and getting a code and also solving a race problem. I may be incorrect. And that clip is really pertinent into, I think this may be our final clip. Let me check. See, this is our final one. Oh yeah, we've done this clip and we covered this clip in our dangers and confusion of Area 8 sex, but that is blocked in a couple of regions because race and white supremacy is hard at work at censoring this channel. So because I wanted to just throw in some more Area 8 because everyone loves Area 8, well, appreciates Area 8. So I thought we decode this clip, and I definitely have some words to share. All right, we don't need to see them dance. We see the age difference, and exactly why Neely Fuller, myself, and the other attempted counter racists consider sex between a white person and non-white person equivalent to a adult and a child having sex. The white person is the adult, the non-white person is the child. That is rape. This is a almost 20-year age gap. I suspect this racist man, he wanted a black female who would be easier to dominate, control, and deceive. So he targeted a younger one because in regards to being with white people, non-white people, they don't do the choosing. When I was being raped by white women and I thought we were in those relationships and I thought we were so-called dating, we were not. And I did not choose them. They chose me. And this is right here, this white man, racist, white supremacist, because the most aggressive act of racism is raping non-white people, which is a long white tradition. Long white tradition, and it's still going on in 2022. But yeah, and I could just even just imagining the damage being done to this poor victim here, this Black female. Pieces of a Puzzle by Renita Tate. Another book non-white people should have in their library, a book I hope to cover on the channel as well, because it's very significant. Sex with white people is a big no-no, and line 22 says it. Yep, this is clearly a rape in a system of racism and white supremacy. Line 22, correct. Yeah, while it may look pleasant to the more confused person with them dancing and being giddy, do not be deceived by this. Racist men and racist women have done an excellent job at making their rape against us and their war against us seem pleasant and seem cute. It is not. It is a war against us. Any comments before we carry on?
It's funny, isn't it? These there's quite a few channels in various social media sites dedicated to this type of tragic arrangement, sex between people classified as Black and people classified as white, and these types of arrangements are put on a pedestal and glorified, and we have to ask questions every time we see this type of stuff. Ask questions. Why are these quote unquote relationships or arrangements so glorified? What are we supposed to think, and what are we supposed to see? What are we supposed to think when we see people like that? What are they trying to project? What do they want us to see when we see them? What do they want us to think about the system of racism, white supremacy, when we see two people, one classified as white, one classified as Black, dancing for social media, right? Dancing to show other non-white people, other white people, that they're in some sort of tragic arrangement. What's the purpose? Are these white people still practicing racism whilst in a sexual relationship with someone who's classified as Black? We need to ask these questions. Is this white person in this tragic arrangement dedicated to the elimination of racism, white supremacy? We need to ask those questions. We need to ask, when we see them dancing like that, we need to ask, behind closed doors, is that white person calling that Black person a nigger? Right? Is this white person and this Black person, are they getting each other to walk around on all fours like dogs, like we saw in the first clip? You know, are they doing puppy play? Are they doing slave narrative, slave sex play behind closed doors? I mean, we need to ask these questions. Anytime people direct you as a non-white person to these types of platforms where they're glorifying these tragic arrangements, we need to ask questions like, what's so good about it? How does that help me? How does that improve my life in a system of racism, white supremacy, by looking at a Black and a white person in some sort of sexual arrangement? Yeah, ask questions.
Very important. Go ahead, Still Learning.
This goes back to the competition factor that I talked about earlier. This type of event, if you will, or this arrangement is promoted today as a pathway to success. Now, what is this? What is the success at? Supposedly, if non-white and white people can get together, then the elimination of racial and the production of racial harmony is at play at work, and that there's the elimination of any racial disparities because white people and non-white people are getting together. So that promotion, and that's what one of the things that competes against the codified response. Smoke and Damages broke it down beautifully. Critical thinking / codified thinking. Why is this being promoted, and what is the intent? What am I to gain, and what am I to do? What's supposed to be done with these messages? And everything that we see, we read, we hear, all of those things should be examined down to that nth degree as to why is this being promoted at me or toward me, and what am I supposed to be getting from it? If you can get back to the source of where it came from, that would be even better. And you all know, like I do, you got to get, get into the question asking mode, which, like Mr. Fuller says, will take everybody right where they need to be. And then when you get down to the point where the questions can be asked, now you get to the doing part. What are we supposed to be doing with this information? But this is one of those competition factors. Now, this young lady could be viewed by other non-white young ladies as living out her Prince Charming fantasies. All of the fairy tales that they were given coming up talked about Prince Charming and riding in on the white horse and saving the damsel in distress. This could be a depiction in the subconscious of this exact same thing being played out. So some non-white young ladies will look at this young lady and go, girl, you done made it. And they will uphold that relationship and promote it and champion that relationship as though, you know, you on your way to the path of a good life, you know. And counter to that, like some of the other video clips that were shown earlier, the Black male image is being, you know, taken out at the foundation. You know, and going forward, the message is being promoted that the success for the Black male is to become a Black female. You know, so you don't even have that challenge anymore. But that's that competition, that critical thinking, that codified thinking, like Smoking Damage just said, is absolutely excellent, spot on. I agree 100%. Thanks.
Precisely. Yeah, I was gonna add that oh freak. I lost my train of thought. Seeing this image threw me off. Where were we? Oh yeah,
tacky, trashy nonsense. So go.
Yeah. It came back. This content is so dangerous because as he's pointing out, as it's been pointing out, it's gonna some Black females will see this Black female as winning. You know, her getting her Prince Charming, and this content is on TikTok. One of the most popular social media apps on the planet. So a lot of young non-white females are going to see this, and then they're going to be like, "Oh, when I'm 21, I could date a 40-year-old white man too." Or when I'm 19, when I'm 18, I'm going to find me a sugar daddy, or Prince Charming too. You know, this is why this propaganda is so dangerous, because it's just going to lead a lot of victims straight to the enemy's hands so they can rape them.
Thomas Jefferson, weird age disparity there.
Freaking Woody Allen.
Yep, Woody Allen.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, just rape vibes. Just rape. Just like they're gonna be glad to be raped while pretending like, you know, they're in a fairy tale. Really, really incorrect. Super dangerous propaganda. As long as we are in the system of racism and white supremacy, it is our duty to promote the truth that, hey, if you're a white person and you're having sex with a non-white person, you're raping that non-white person. You're a rapist. It's incorrect. It shouldn't be happening. Help us produce justice, and then maybe non-white people will be willing to participate in that sort of arrangement. But right now, should not be happening. Hell no.
They can't be a racist. They're dating me.
Yeah,
you know, it's that type of nonsense. It's that type of nonsense. That's what they want to project. Really, this white person cannot be a racist because they're in a sexual relationship with someone who's classified as Black. Yeah. You ask that white person questions about system of racism, white supremacy long enough, and you're gonna see that they're gonna start off all cool first of all, and then sooner or later, with a few well-placed questions, all the time, the racism sometimes they just go from tacky to terroristic. They just go from tacky to terroristic all in one, you know, just straight to in 0 to 60. It's crazy. But yeah, just ask questions. Anytime they're trying to promote that sort of stuff, just try, if you can actually speak to the people involved as well, you ask them, and then you just see the confusion on a non-white person's mind, and then you'll see the white supremacist in the white person's mind. If you don't believe us, just try it. Ask the next, that as an experiment, if you want to do that, if you have time and energy to do that, if you want to, just as a little experiment, next time you see one of these tragic arrangements, if they don't mind asking questions, ask first. If they don't mind answering some questions, have some questions ready. Ask them, what they think about the system of racism and white supremacy. Gauge how comfortable or uncomfortable they are in answering your questions. I've always found when I question those types of people, they're very, very, very uncomfortable. They want to pretend that everything's all lovely and nice and, you know, smelling like roses on the surface. But then when you get down to it and you start questioning these people, then you find that things are far from correct.
The dissonance begins to show.
Completely.
Yeah, I look for the opportunity to talk to these incorrect arrangements. Halima Candy says racial showcasing to strengthen the system of WSR. I have to say it's more than it's more than that. This is deliberate propaganda that is designed to get young non-white females thinking about finding themselves a suspected a racist, a white man for the bedroom.
Maximum racist aggression.
Yeah, exactly.
And young white males to live out that fantasy of becoming a man. Becoming a man, you got to get you one.
Yeah,
that's what Grandpop said last Thanksgiving.
Yeah, the rite of passage for white people, for white men, is to rape a black female. A long tradition held by racist men.
Do you think the same exists for white women? Do you think white women have the same kind of ritualistic tradition with non-white men? You think that's a thing also?
I think there is. I think when white women go off to college, it is known that they're going to experiment with some non-white males, probably some black males. I know I was experimented on, raped over there, in that manner.
Yeah, white females have a long tradition on quote unquote going down onto the plantation and picking some black person, some black male to have sex with. Of course they do. They've got a long tradition of doing that.
All right, and just to finish up what Halima Candy was saying, in her mind, he is a real man. Ironically, and for him, racial fetish and role playing is a real possible. He is a real man, a real white man, which compared to universal man doesn't mean much in this decrepit system known as racism, white supremacy. All right, where are we? Okay. I'm glad I didn't play this clip earlier because we have we have 8 people in the audience, so we have more people who can see how serious white people are. White people are very serious right now. They not right now, but they stay serious. This is what this is what the white children are up to. You know, this is what they're serious about.
You got 10 rounds in there, every single one of them. Make sure you're stabilizing that elbow somewhere on this bar. I can't tell you where. You got to feel it. You should have no muscle holding that gun up. It should be bone structure and you're comfortable, okay? If you're holding it up with the muscle, you're going to start getting tired. You're going to start missing. Get comfortable with that. Click that safety off. 10 rounds. Put them in there, son. On your knees. Squat down. Tuck that gun into your shoulder. There you go.
Yeah, it's just this is what white supremacy is all about. I think this is such a significant piece of content. You know, a grandfather teaching the grandson, you know, about what you got about guns. It's a well-seen moment. You know, it's every white person's what does every racist white supremacist want besides to continue the system of white supremacy? A lot of them say a white grandchild, and if you want a white grandchild, you have to do certain things to make that happen. There has to be a system, and the system that is in place has to teach white people certain things. And this white person is teaching this white child, about firearms, because that is the tools of firearms very important to maintaining the system. And just goes to show that it's very serious. Just you take away white supremacy from a white person, you haven't taken away something, taken away everything. That clip just rings in my mind watching this. And comparing this to videos of non-white children and just non-white people and what we're up to is just wow. But I'm not. There is a group I'm aware of called the Survival Sisters, which is a bunch of Black females who are learning about firearms and teaching people about firearms. Very constructive. Very way more constructive than learning TikTok dances and whatnot. So Black self-respect mixed in there, but this clip is very significant. I think I'm gonna mute my mic.
There's another young man that has a site called Black Rambo. If anyone is interested, it's Black, just like BLACK, and Rambo, just like the character in the movie Rambo. And he does a lot about shooting guns, not very little education, but a lot about shooting and self-defense and carrying and how to handle weapons, move with weapons, how to check weapons in at the airport. So he gives some constructive information along those lines. But sometimes some of the people in the background still running off the old code of, just triple T's, man, it's back there. But, and I'm sure there's others out there also that are promoting the safe use of weaponry in the non-white communities. There are a few of them out there. And sure, I think people should be passing that knowledge down to their kids, especially these days. I think it's only right for any non-white child to know how to engage in self-defense, whether that be armed self-defense or hand-to-hand combat. These days, I think it's quite codified, quite constructive to know how to handle yourself, because it's likely you'll find yourself at some office party, some party on the weekend, and you're in somebody's backyard and the alcohol is flowing, and as soon as you hear that first woo, that's when it's time to get your guard up, because you don't know where it's coming from, but it might be coming at you. So kids should know how to defend themselves, as well as adults as well.
Yeah, I'd definitely echo what Still Learning 0526 has said. I learned a long time ago how to defend myself with my body, hand-to-hand combat, kung fu, etc. And I would say, even if you didn't have a white supremacist system, you should still learn how to do that. That should just be something, just another thing that you learn how to do. You learn how to talk, you learn how to walk, you learn the correct foods to eat, you learn the correct books to read, you learn the correct entertainment to watch, you learn the correct kind of education, and you learn how to defend yourself, whether that be with, like you say, with weapons, etc., or hand-to-hand combat. You have to learn how to defend yourself. We are in a system of racism, white supremacy. Do you see in that clip, do you see the size of the weapon that man is allowing his child, his offspring to train with? These people are serious. We're like, is it Neely Fuller Jr. or Dr. Cambon said, we're silly about being serious, and
Black people are very serious about not being very serious.
About not being very serious. Yeah. We take being silly. Yeah, we take being silly really, really serious. If we could disseminate information around the globe about a new dance step probably in about 2 days' time. Everyone will learn how to do it. We'll hear about it here in London.
Overnight,
we'll know how to do it
days.
overnight. I'm telling you, yeah, overnight we'll still do. We started doing. I saw one video somewhere about with the crate challenge, and by the time I went down to the park the next day over here in London, I saw a bunch of Black people doing the crate challenge. I saw, right? It's talking about what is how non-constructive it is. That's what we'll do. But you try and teach some non-white. Right, you try and tell some non-white, you try and get some non-white people and say, like, listen, everyone that you know, you should be teaching them how to practice some sort of kung fu, some sort of self-defense, something like that. They if it's constructive information, they just you can't pay them to want to do it. But this is where we come in. People who are less confused, we have to make other people, in whatever way, we have to get them to be less confused and get them to understand that we are in a war. People sometimes talk about this race war that's coming up or whatever. We're in the race war. We've been having the race war for centuries. It's here.
Centuries.
You need to learn how to defend yourself.
Uh-oh, that might run against the code. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not hurt,
Oh
harm,
no!
maim, love everybody. Take
Area
care
eight.
of this. Turn the other cheek. Turn the other cheek.
That's not codification.
That's what I'm saying. This is what we in competition. That's what you're in competition with.
No, like the area, for anyone who thinks that way, Area 8, check Area 8 counter war.
Counter war, definitely. It's about self-defense, right? If we weren't in a race war, then we wouldn't have to be doing this. Right? We need to be doing this.
Yeah, produce results.
I'm with you.
Wait, hold on. Produce results. I see your hand. I'm gonna get through the chat, and then you're gonna chime in. Kwaku says from the chat, non-white males only get this level of instruction when it comes to throwing a football. Tragic. Wow. Excellent.
Completely agree.
Yeah. And
billions will be around the TVs this weekend.
Yeah. Tucson Soma, thanks for your work. CRWS SD still learning. The book studies are extremely constructive and enjoyable. Trying not to just be a spectator. Greetings from Amsterdam. Thank you. I appreciate your appreciation. Please share the content if it's constructive. Lime 22, the white, and this is a great analysis. Lime 22, by the way. Lime 22 says that the white child is wearing camouflage clothes, very indicative of psychologically blending in society to fool Black people that whites are their friend. But him, I don't know if you're he or she, Lime, correct me. But Lime 2 saying this makes me think that, well, yeah, this is military garbs for sure. And it's just definitely putting it to this little white child that that he's preparing for some sort of war, that he already is some sort of soldier. He's already wearing soldier fatigues. So in his mind, he's already developing the mentality of a soldier at such a young age. Non-white people do not develop that mentality of being a warrior, of having to fight for something, because he's being taught right now in this instant that he how to fight for white supremacy. System of white supremacy. White people use guns, to maintain a system of white supremacy. He's being taught that very early. And the camouflage, from what Line 22 says, very accurate. It's double meaning. Double meaning for sure. Produce results, please chime in.
I know we notice this on a continual basis, that the information on these same platforms where we can get these non-constructive videos, we can find these constructive videos, just like this man teaching his grandchild how to fire a firearm. A lot of these videos are 10, 15 minutes long, but because it's boring, many of us are not interested in viewing them. We have 9 areas of activity. What if we made it a priority, instead of watching many of these non-constructive videos, find a 10, 15 minute, even an hour plus long video in every area of activity to learn something constructive. This is about time and energy. And we're just going to have to get used to the fact that people are going to find it strange. Yes, we have been taught that we need to be silly. But as you notice, as we have become more codified, people find it uncomfortable to be around you. because they don't know what to expect from you. And because you're watching videos and practicing what you learn, and there are plenty of websites that'll teach you self-defense for free, why are we not doing that? Because it's not fun. It's not entertaining. So in the spirit of being codified, change your behavior. Or, well, I suggest you can do what you want, but why aren't we spending time watching these more constructive videos? Because they're not entertaining. Well, let's skip the entertainment part and be constructive.
Completely agree.
Second the motion.
Thank you. Produce results. Sour Kiss, we need a code for every area of activity. Precisely. Alrighty, continue on with the alrighty. Where am I gonna go? Where am I gonna take us? We'll go here, and then we'll, because I mentioned it in one of the broadcasts how, you know, and this war, there's like units, you know, there's like the Grenadier, demolition, you know, the paratrooper. There's units in this war, and that applies to all white people. You know, we have the ones from this racist child here who's gonna grow up very militarized, you know, very much, you know, not confused about racism and white supremacy, you know, very refined in that manner. And then you're gonna have the white ones, the other whites who like to, you know, chug beer and go to frat parties. They're still suspected racist white supremacists, but they just, you know, just how a grenadier is different from a demolitionist. They're still participating in the war. They're still helping out in the war. Just different roles. But same goal. I hope that made sense. And I say that to bring this white suspected racist on the screen here.
What the fuck?
Oh my god.
What the fuck?
Can I get outside security? Can I get outside security, please? Can I get outside security? You need to get out, sir. You need to get out. Oh.
What the?
Yeah, I don't know what to make of this. I don't know what I'm witnessing. I just see a white person like contaminating a lot of goods in a grocery store. You know, he's also in a freezer, almost naked. I can't handle I can't handle the code that well. I don't know if I would be able to do this, nor would my brain computer had said, hey, let's go hop in the fridge at Walmart. But I don't know, some sort of prank or just some sort of white psychosis. But yeah, I know if it was a black person in there, the cops would have been there already. But anywho, any comments before I continue on? Alrighty. And so we have these kind of white people, and then we have these kind of white people, all participating in the same war. All right, let's see if this one will play. This one seems to have not be working at, let me see this one. All righty. Well, if it will not play, it was just a white man yelling at a Asian female, saying how it's gonna decapitate her and kill her. And she's worthless and she doesn't belong in Canada, his country, and just the direct violence that one should expect from from a racist. She was more codified. She would have expected that. She would be able to probably counter it better. But anywho, looks like the white people got it taken down, or it's been taken down, so we can't watch it. But that's what the clip was about.
Yeah, but even though we have the Stop Asian Hate campaign out there, the people who are, perpetrating the most harm towards people who are classified as Asian are people who classify themselves as white. We have nothing on the white supremacists when it comes to violence. Nothing whatsoever. The people who are perpetrating most of the violence against people who are classified as Asian are people who are classified as white.
Physical and administrative violence. I mean, stuff that happens on paper, the making of rules, laws, changing districts, rezoning, whatever. All that happens on paper. That could be considered administrative violence in response to the need to harm someone.
Indeed. So I think that concludes with all the clips besides the final clip, which I think I will make into its own video. So okay, yeah, so that concludes RIPS number 12. I'm gonna let folks give their closing comments, but yeah, we covered everything. We covered all areas of people activity, time and energy, sex, just the incorrectness of what white people are up to, just all the bizarreness, and war, but the suspected racist child being just trained by his grandfather, all very telling. I hope it was constructive for you all. Please comment, like, and share the information, and closing comments. And then I'm gonna end this recording. I'm gonna start up another one for for the final clip.
I would like to say, this is hope this was constructive for all non-white people who are listening to this broadcast, and make everything you do constructive. Just look at it as a little experiment. Try it for a week. If you can do it for a week, just carry on for 2 weeks and carry on. And again, just like Neely Fuller says, just keep on keeping on. You have to start somewhere. Make everything you do constructive. Ask what you want to do. What do you want to do? Why do you want to do it? How do you plan to do it? And what do you expect the constructive result to be? And also, if you can just try this as another experiment as well with other non-white people, just say to yourself, you're not going to name call another black person. Doesn't matter who that black person is, you're not going to name call another black person. We've all been programmed to mistreat each other, but just say that to yourself. You're not gonna name call another black person, and you're not gonna argue with another black person. Just say to yourself, even if you see the next black person, you're gonna disagree with them. Especially if you're talking about race and white supremacy, you're probably gonna disagree. Just say to yourself, it doesn't matter if I disagree. I'm not gonna name call that black person, and I'm not gonna argue with that black person, and I'm not going to harm that black person in any way. I suspect that if we all adopted that, and if we promoted that among other non-white people, I think that would be very, very, very constructive, and we'll see how racist man and racist woman deal with that.
Alrighty, go ahead, still learning.
Just a second.
Oh, so what I was going to chime in on these final comments is to practice, practice, practice. Practice being codified, practice thinking codified, practice deconstructing any and everything around you. Get the books, the compensatory code book, the word guide, study, practice, practice, practice. If you look at how a baby or an infant learns to walk, it starts off pulling itself up, takes a couple of steps, it falls and it learns, it recalculates, it tries it again, it pulls up, it takes another step, 2 steps this time, it falls, it recalculates, it gets up, it tries it again. Next thing you know, you're running a marathon, whatever the case may be. Practice, practice, practice. Expect to stumble, expect to fail. Practice, practice, practice. Please get the books, practice the codification, like Joy said. Get to the point where you're doing something. Turn off the foolishness and look at doing something constructive, finding something constructive, promoting constructive things. And again, I can't say it enough. Practice, practice, practice. That's the only, no product, no progress. Thanks, y'all. Appreciate everybody's input today. Wholeheartedly appreciate it. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Smoky Damages, still learning. Alrighty.